He wasn't supposed to be home. But when the millionaire CEO walked in early, he heard muffled cries as sons. What he saw next froze him in place. The maid Clara was kneeling, wiping tears from the boy's cheeks. His small voice trembled as he repeated what the other nanny had told him. She's dirty. Her skin makes her bad, mocked, humiliated, and too young to even understand why. This wasn't just cruelty, it was racism, in his own home. This is Millionaire CEO walks in early. What the maid was doing to his son left him frozen. Welcome. Story lovers, comment your city below. Julian Ricks had it all. As the CEO of a billion-dollar firm, he lived in a glass mansion perched above the valley. His days were filled with boardrooms, deals, and power, and his nights, silence. Widowed young, he poured his life into business. His 6-year-old son, Micah, barely saw him. Most of Micah's hours were spent with Clara, the live-in maid, a quiet, kind, black woman in her 50s who had been with the family for 3 years. Clara kept the home spotless and Micah smiling, never asking for attention, never overstepping. To Julian, she wizened invisibles in the background. But behind Clara's soft eyes were memory scars of things she'd never speak of. Behind Micah's shy smile was something else too. Something Julian had never bothered to notice, till that one afternoon, when he came home 3 hours early and walked into a moment that would append everything. Julian wasn't supposed to be home. A canceled meeting brought him back just after lunch. He stepped in quietly, scrolling through emails. But as he passed the living room, he heard a sound choking sobs. Micah, he rushed in. Clara sat on the floor holding the child. His face was red, his little body trembling. Julian's presence startled them both. But Clara didn't let go. She looked up, calm but alert. He just needed comfort, she said. Julian knelt, trying to ask Micah what happened. But the boy clung to Clara like his life depended on it. Through broken breaths, he muttered a name, Ms. Emily. She said bad things about Clara. Julian froze. Ms. Emily's weekend nanny. Micah continued. She said Clara's dirty, that her people are dangerous, that I shouldn't love her. Julian felt the room spin. Said it happened in his home under his roof. And Clara. She hadn't said a word for weeks. But that wasn't all. Clara reached behind the sofa and pulled out a recorder. I didn't want to accuse her without proof. Julian listened and heard words that turned his stomach. Slurs, threats, a cruel attempt to poison a child's heart. And through it all, Clara's silence had protected Micah's innocence. Until it couldn't anymore. The tension was unbearable. What would Julian do with the truth now laid bare? Julian stood, jaw clenched, rage and shame boiling beneath his skin. He had trusted Ms. Emily, someone from his world, and ignored Clara, who had quietly become his son's guardian angel. Micah looked up, eyes still wet. Daddy, Clara saved me. Julian's heart cracked. The recordings were irrefutable. Clara had endured hate to protect love. Without another word, Julian picked up the phone and dialed. Security. Ms. Emily's access was revoked. Permanently. But before Clara could leave the room, Julian stopped her. You're not just the help, he said softly. You're family. In that moment, race, class, and silence shattered. The cost of ignorance had never been clearer. Dear audience, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to give it a like. It really helps. The days that followed changed everything. Julian stepped back from the boardroom and into his son's world. He began listening, really listening, not just to Micah, but to Clara's story. He learned how quiet racism festers, not always in headlines, but in homes. In whispers children carry. Clara stayed, not as a maid, but as someone deeply valued, finally seen. Julian funded an initiative for anti-bias education in local schools, starting with his own company. Micah, he smiled more, laughed louder, and never again heard that he couldn't love someone because of their skin. Racism doesn't always scream, it whispers. And if we don't listen, it spreads. The question is, how many silent Claras are still waiting to be heard? Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories and new videos.